Hi, it's Jane. Oh boy, my first day with the Cpap was rather interesting. Today I'm knitting, and my drink of choice is just plain water, so let me get a sip. Thirsty. So anyway, I decided I'm going to knit some more on my sweater today. As you can see, I didn't get very far at all. There was where I'd moved it up, and I think I got 2 whole rows, maybe a row. So I need to get moving on it. Anyway, with my Cpap, I had the appointment to pick it up Wednesday. I get in there with the nurse, and she basically shows me the machine and how it works and that kind of thing. And then she looks at me and says, what kind of mask would you like? Well, I tell her I'm basically a side sleeper, and I generally sleep, and I'm a mouth breather. So she suggests a mask that has nose pillows. Just goes up into the nose. I'm like, yeah, whatever. I said, is this going to be feeling like I'm suffocating with air or anything like that? She said, no, it should be a very nice, easy transition. It may take you a couple weeks to get used to it, blah, 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 all this other stuff. And I'm like, okay. She says, since you are a mouth breather, not going to use the full face mask, which I might have considered the full face mask, but the one that they had displayed uses a lot of elastic. And I know from in the past, having that kind of stuff on my head drives me nuts. So I was like, well, let's kind of pass on that. Then she says to me, well, you'll need a chin strap. I'm like, okay, fine. It's included. The chin strap is meant to hold your mouth closed so that you're not doing all that mouth breathing. I got no problem with that, okay. I was looking at chin straps anyway, just because I am a mouth breather, and I know towards the middle of the night, when I start really deeply snoring, that my mouth drops open. And been doing a lot of research on that, and a lot of people say it helps stop that kind of loud snoring, that kind of thing. So, okay. She pulls out this package that's already been opened, looks at it and says, and opens it up and shows me how to attach it, not by putting it on, which she had it upside down, and I said to her, that's upside down. And she didn't measure my head, didn't measure top of my head to my chin, which is kind of goes at a slant. None of that. So I'm like, okay. Well, maybe she knows what she's doing. But I never looked at the size of the chin strap. Now, mind you, I have to travel an hour to get to their office to pick this up and go through all this stuff. All right, I got no issue with that, because I can do a little shopping, whatever, which my shopping mostly was stopping at Aldi's to pick up a few of my favorite things that I can't get in the regular stores here. So, no, I did stop at Joann's, got a couple of fabrics I liked for some Christmas bags, that kind of thing. So when I get home, I find a place for the machine. I don't get it set up because of the hoses, and I know these cats are going to go nuts, freaking out and wanting to play with it and everything else, because why not? Looks like a toy. So when I get ready for bed, I go to put that chin strap on. And I look at it and I'm like, I think that's going to be way too big. Because I don't see how that's going to fit my head. So I put it on. Put it in place. Went to attach it, so you have to get a snug fit. Go to attach it, and in order to get a snug fit, I have to bring the Velcro way over here where there's nothing for it to stick to. Same in the back. When I do it at the tightest setting, I could put my both hands in it, between it and my chin. So I'm like, well, that's the bust, and what am I supposed to do now? So, I know you don't have to have a chin strap absolutely to sleep with them, so I'm like, okay, I'll try. Put that thing on, and of course Izzy wants to get at the mask. Because it's got elastic strings that go around your ears, that kind of thing. She's wanting to play with them and mess with them. I'm like, no, get away. Finally got her to understand, nope, I'm going to smack you if you get that close. And I don't really smack them, I just smack at them, by their bedside. Or where they're sitting, at that area, and they just back away. So, I put it on, turn the thing on. It's at the lowest setting, mind you. And I thought, okay, I'm going to sit and read a little bit to try to get adjusted to it. And I have to tell you, I felt like I was hyperventilating because there was so much air blowing. And I was like, I don't think this is right. So, kind of got the manual out to look at it, and okay, it automatically starts full ramp. I can start it slower, so I changed that to where it starts up slower to that full 4 setting that it's set on. I tried sleeping with that thing for an hour and could not get to sleep because I actually felt, I don't know how to explain this. I had chest pains. So, and I know that's not normal. So I tried for an hour and a half, couldn't get used to it. Thought, okay, I'm going to take it off and I'll worry about it tonight. Try again tomorrow. Found a few videos that tell you how to get used to it, that kind of thing. And I really think the problem is because they're nostril pillows that go into the nostril instead of just a small over-the-nose mask. I think that's the problem. Am I sure? No. But I went and watched a few videos on how to get adjusted, and they all say to actually put the mask on during the day, like when you're sitting and reading or knitting. So I'm going to try that for the next couple of days and see if I can get adjusted to it. But I was not impressed. And the funniest thing was, I had checked to see, because there's a setting on it that you can check and see if you have a good mask, if the fitting is good, if it's good mask coverage. Well, I did it while it was on. Good mask coverage, and I could tell that because I had lots of air blowing up my nose. But this model, when you power it down, shut it off, it runs for an additional 30 minutes. So I took the mask off, shut it down, and for the next 30 minutes, it continued to blow air. So about 15 minutes into it, I had one of those moments that I do lots of times. let's see what if. So I went to look at the mask fitting. It's still showing a good mask fitting. So anyway, today I called, Thursday I called, told them about the whole issue, that it wasn't the right size and whatnot. And by this time I had already gone to the website that sells these chin straps and, found out how you need to measure it, that kind of thing. And the mask size that it suggests is a medium mask for not only this measurement, but the measurement from the top of the head down to the base of my chin. So I'm talking with her and I said, yeah, according to the, Sunset Health that has those, the mask size that I actually need is a medium. Oh, well, we only carry regular, large, and extra large. I said, you can't order a medium? Nope, I can't order a medium. I said to her, okay, I'll order it. She said, no, don't want you to do that. Let me have you try this other one. It's basically the same type of gear, but it's red. They call it the Ruby line. So she's going to drop it off Friday this afternoon. She lives in Lock Haven. I had to go to State College for this. But, so she's going to drop it off on her way home. And that's fine. I mean, I don't mind going back up. It's not that big a deal. But, and I told her that I can come up. She said, no, there's no sense. I'll just bring you by that Ruby line. I'm like, okay, fine. Whatever. But, can say this. And I have worked with Lincare, which Lincare is a company that is doing this. I have worked with Lincare when I was in doing home health, hospital setting, you name it. They've always been an excellent company. Representatives have been extremely knowledgeable. But I honestly felt like she was very new at this. And she may be. I don't know. But I was not impressed because my first thought is, if you're going to give a chin strap, you need to know if it's going to fit or not. And they don't let you try the chin strap on there when you're with the nurse. I mean, if I'd have tried it on then and there, we both would have seen that there's no way it was going to fit. So, yeah, I was rather disappointed in that. So, Thursday night, no chin strap, gave it a try, had it on for about 2 hours, spent an hour reading before I went to bed with it on. But wound up at the end, after an hour trying to sleep with it, just powering it down because it's just not working. I mean, it's awful. And like I said, I understand it's going to be one of those where I'm going to have to get used to it. So, anyway, we will see, right? May wind up changing out the mask anyway. But the first thing, I really didn't have a lot of confidence because normally if you tell someone who's an expert, one, I'm a mouth breather and I'm a side sleeper. they automatically know which masks are going to suit those type of people. So anyway, that was the basis of that kind of thing. Interesting, right? I know y'all are dull. Y'all are amazed beyond belief at that story. But anyway, and of course the cats, they're constantly trying to see what it is, touch it, and then the funny thing is I got up to go to the bathroom before I disconnected it, and I had disconnected the hose so that I still had the piece on my face within my nostrils. And both the cats got totally freaked out because, of course, you can hear the air blowing. So I had a little bit of fun with that with the cats. But, yeah, I'm not sure how that's going to work too well. Like I said, I'm just going to keep trying to get used to it. And I was really hopeful that the first night I would finally get to sleep. But I can say honestly, I did feel like I was hyperventilating, and I could literally feel my heart felt like I was under a lot of pressure. So, and I did tell her that. I said I was a little surprised at that. Should I be feeling that? I can understand that my lungs are not going to be used to it. Because over the times that I've not been breathing well at night, I know that that affects my lungs, and I expected, maybe some soreness or fullness there. But I was rather shocked that I felt like that. Felt like I was being strangled by air. So, and apparently that is the lowest setting that they allow you to go on. So we'll work our way into it. Ah. And I'm not so sure I like the idea of having to use distilled water with it. She did talk about, if you're congested, you need to turn down the amount of humidity that's in there. And I'm like, can I just turn it off and try 0? So yeah, we'll see. And I think the only good thing about it is you're allowed to try a different mask in 30 days till you find the right mask for you. So, I was listening the other day where they were talking about the charges against P. Diddy. My goodness, that is a ton of charges. And I'm curious if there will be even more charges, since he actually videotaped many of these freak out parties. So that should be an interesting case to follow as we go along. I was rather disappointed that I think his name is Marcellus Shell in Missouri, was executed the other day. Some of the things that they found is there was no DNA evidence that showed him even in the house of killing this woman, Gail Fisher. And of course the woman was stabbed 43 times. So I'm sorry, if you're stabbed 43 times, That's a crime of passion. That's not a crime of being robbed and supposedly, you know, I find it hard to believe that this fellow would have gone on a bus, gone completely across town to a neighborhood, high-scale neighborhood, to rob someone and murder him. But found that sad that he lost his appeal and governor would not grant him clemency. And of course, I'm hearing a lot of those on the left, you know, talking about how racist it is and everything else. Well, probably. I mean, he's been on death row for 20 years, so I would imagine that's probably part of it. The other part may be they don't want to show how they failed to keep the line of custody intact, because apparently someone, after they'd done the initial DNA testing, actually contaminated the knife by touching it without any gloves on, which contaminates the whole thing. So I don't know, but I do know that what I find interesting is that he called for people not to riot, not to, you know, act like idiots, just work to change the laws. So find that admirable of him. And I feel for his family, you know. I mean, they probably most likely know he's totally innocent of that crime. But yeah. Well, have you guys been keeping up with the UN and their little pact to make us all a global unit? And the scuttlebutt is that President Biden is absolutely planning on signing on that. And basically that gives away our American sovereignty. It would allow the UN to take over a lot of our issues, a lot of digital, our digital marks. They would be able to sanction us for something that they found offensive. In other words, if it's free speech, we don't want it. They would be able to call up troops whenever they wanted to, that kind of thing. And of course, Kuwait has already done this. Most people had until today, to give up their biometrics in Kuwait. And supposedly this is even those who are expatriates, to give up their biometrics to the Kuwait government. And if they don't, the Kuwait government will actually lock them out of their bank accounts, with the exception of, you know, like mortgage payments or those kind of things. So they wouldn't be able to buy anything, go get groceries, you know, those kind of things. They wouldn't be able to if they haven't given that. Now, I'm assuming when they're talking about the expatriates, because I couldn't find any details on that, they're actually talking about, because in America, you can give up, when you become a citizen here in the U.S., you do not have to give up your citizenship from your home country in most cases. You can have dual citizenship. When I was going to nursing school, I had a friend who was from Iran. And he didn't want to give up his citizenship because it meant he would not be able to visit his family, ever. So he had dual citizenship, which a lot of folks do that for that reason. So I'm assuming it's those that do not give up that citizenship that it would have to enroll in that program. And I think they actually have till October the 10th. I think that's what it was. But I find that interesting. And here the UN is trying to put that in place. And of course they'll be able to declare what emergencies are and aren't. And if you've followed the UN anyway, you'll know they're horrible. For peacekeeping, letting countries that are not part of NATO have a say in things. And yeah, I just don't think that we should sign over our sovereignty. And I'm hoping that President Biden does not sign it. I hope, and part of it is because the head of the UN has also put in there in this pact, if you're a member of the UN, and you don't deny that or ask to be removed from it, you're automatically in it, even if you don't sign it. So, who knows what this president's going to do, or what whoever's running the country is going to do. Because I'm really not sure it's Biden. So, that's kind of scary in itself. But, yeah, I found that interesting. And what I find interesting is, and I do this from time to time anyway, I go look to see what the strategic oil reserves are. As you know, we have Helene pressing in on Florida this week, and quite a few other states where they're going to see some effects from it. I think I'd already seen video showing that the electric utility workers are already lined up, you know, on their way, that kind of thing, to these places where this Cat 3 is supposed to hit. And I kind of hope it turns its direct trajectory and lessens instead of becomes a Cat 3. Because some of those places are expected to be under 10 feet of water. That's a lot of water. So anyway, the strategic oil reserves lots of times are used to help those instances, like if there is some kind of massive disastrous calamity, catastrophe, that it's used for heating, for, you know, getting supplies to the area, those kind of things. Getting gas to gas stations so that people can evacuate. And it's at 40% below normal level at this point, which is scary. And I believe back in July, maybe the end of May, the Biden administration had said they had added 170 million barrels to that strategic oil reserve. But if they had, we wouldn't be at 40% below. They've actually been taking from it. And in an effort to keep your gas prices lower. So that kind of scares me a little bit, you know. And then we see all this military movement. Past 3 weeks, there's been a buildup of military in the Shimway, I think that's how you pronounce it, or Shimaway, islands in Alaska. Okay, the battery died. Sorry about that. Which they normally do that kind of thing when Russia, China, different people have their war games in that area. And lots of times these war games are just exercises that different militaries will use, in case of. But then, of course, we've been hearing Putin talk about the whole thing is, if Ukraine continues to bomb and the U.S. allows them to directly bomb into their country with our ammunitions, that it will be World War III. So that's that little scare. And supposedly we've moved a ton of folks to the Middle East. Just because of the whole thing with Israel and Hezbollah, supposedly. I have a friend whose son is in the military, and they were told to have their bags ready to go this weekend. They couldn't tell them where they would be going yet, but they most likely would be moved out by this weekend or by October the 5th, to their next destination. And he is one of those that he is basically a mathematician, does a lot of calculations and things for the Army, that kind of stuff. So he normally doesn't see combat, but that doesn't mean that they won't put them into combat situations. So that, I don't know, all of that just makes me nervous. And I gotta wonder, the Biden administration used tax dollar money to bring Zelensky over to the U.S. so that he could tour the ammunition factory in Pennsylvania, as well as, be here all week and basically do some campaigning for the Biden administration for an additional, $400 million in ammunitions as well. And of course, then my stupid ass governor, I'm going to say that, had the audacity to sign one of the missiles. Or artillery shells. Why is this administration not pushing for peace talks? I don't understand that. They really should be working towards a peaceable solution. I mean, we've given so much money to Ukraine, and don't get me wrong, I do understand some of that, but at the same time, I don't see where they are actually working towards peace, neither Putin or Zelensky. So, and then of course you have the old thing with the second assassin attempt. That fella was recruiting people in Afghanistan to fight in the Ukraine. I mean, how crazy does that get? So, I don't know. Not looking forward to going to an all-digital system. Supposedly, where a governing body can control it. I got issues with that. If I want to buy peaches one day and I want to buy gumdrops the next, I ought to be able to. I shouldn't have to approve it through some agency. Just think that's the way it should go. But I guess we'll see what's in our future. It'll come about soon enough. And I can remember I want to say it was in the 80s, when the big talk was about rainbow money. I don't know if you remember that or not. But that we didn't want to go to the rainbow money because it would be the start of our downfall. And there's a part of me that kind of laughs about that, because if you look at our money, the way that they have added colors into it kind of reminds me of that whole rainbow money thing that was going on in the 80s and how much of it came true. So yeah. And I think there at one time was a push to actually change the color of each bill. But that got shut down because of the cost of having to do it. The cost for the printing of it would be outrageous. So, yeah. Find those things kind of interesting. I did, with the bag sale, I did the live the other day, and I was very nervous, and it had been such a long time since I'd done a live. YouTube had changed a lot of things about going live, so, and I feel comfortable using StreamYard, so I think I'm going to go back to using StreamYard in the first place. But yeah, it's just been rather interesting. The whole 9 yards. And the weather is getting colder. It gets colder inside the house. Each night it gets colder and colder. And I'm trying not to turn the heat on till I absolutely have to, because those bills are going to skyrocket needlessly. What I find funny is I don't understand how because this is an energy efficient house, how during the summer my bills are about somewhere between $50 and $60 a month for the electric. But then during the winter, they go up to $300. Makes me wonder if there's some price gouging going on there. And I do keep track of the wattage, that kind of thing. And I'm seeing a small increase in it. And I'm sure most of it's because of, it's a little darker during the day, so sometimes you'll put lights on, that kind of thing. So yeah, I do understand that, but I don't normally run the heater throughout the day. I try not to, but sometimes it's a little chilly and needs to be run, so anyway, we'll see about that. But yeah, boy, I just scatterbrained all over the place. I'm going to say that's because of lack of oxygen and sleep, or maybe too much oxygen last night, not enough sleep. But so anyway, I did that with the live, and I am planning on trying to do a few more lives, and I'll probably announce those. There are still quite a few of the bags left, and what I planned on doing is putting pictures of them up on the Jane Wynn designs with where you can contact me, if you would like, so that you can see what's still available. And then when they're sold, what I'll do is I'll delete the pictures so that way folks can see. I did find 2 more bags that I'm going to add to that little live. And one of those is the cats with the white pumpkins. And it's got the spiders and that kind of thing. It's a drawstring. The other one is the one with the black cats on the pumpkin buttons, which is meant to be a vintage print. And this one actually has 2 pockets on the outer side, and then it has 3 pockets on this side. It's just divided into 3 pockets, and it's got the orange with the yellow polka dot and an interior pocket as well. So those are being added. I've been cutting some more Christmas fabrics that I've pulled out of there to be cut and sewn. And I'm still on the fence on how I'm going to do that, whether I'm going to do it through PayPal, Venmo, that kind of thing, because it can get kind of confusing. But we'll work it out eventually, right? Anyway, I think I've talked on long enough. I'm going to let you go because, as you can tell, my voice is a little hoarse, and not sure if that's because of the humidity or because of the fact that that air was blowing so hard and fast in. But I know I'll get used to it either way. So I'm going to let you go, and I'll see you again another time. But in the meantime, everybody have a great week, and see you Monday. Bye.